There's only one person in Star Trek who Picard held a grudge over for 31 years. Jean-Luc Picard is a man of principle, diplomacy, and intellectual discipline. As the stoic captain of the USS Enterprise D and later a legend of Starfleet, Picard embodied the Federation's highest ideals: forgiveness, evolution, and compassion. And yet, across his long and decorated career, from the next generation to Picard, there is one person who pierced through all his shields of reason, someone he couldn't quite forgive, even after 31 years: Ro Laren. Introduced in Star Trek: The Next Generation Season 5, Ensign Ro Laren was a complicated, sharp-edged Byron officer with a rebellious streak and a history of disobedience. She was everything Picard disliked in an officer: distrustful of authority, emotionally guarded, and unpredictable. But in a surprising move, Picard didn't just tolerate Ro, he took her under his wing. He saw potential, perhaps even a kindred spirit buried under the trauma of being a Byron refugee and a Starfleet pariah. He advocated for her, mentored her, and gave her what she claimed she never had before: someone who believed in her. And then she betrayed him. In TNG's penultimate episode, Preemptive Strike, Ro defects to the Maquis, a resistance group formed by Federation citizens who were abandoned by the Federation's peace treaty with the Cardassians. To Picard, this wasn't just desertion, it was a personal betrayal. Ro hadn't just gone rogue. She had used his trust to get closer to her mission. It shattered him in a way Starfleet battles, Romulan deceptions, and even Borg assimilation hadn't. Picard's response was subtle but unmistakable. In the final moments of that episode, after Ro has vanished and the mission has failed, he doesn't explode in anger. He doesn't rage. He simply sits in silence, pain written all over his face. That's when viewers knew. This cut deep. In the years that followed, Ro Laren was never mentioned again in any TNG-era series or films, not even Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, where her defection could have echoed through Byron and Maquis storylines. Picard, who had faced down gods and dictators, never publicly spoke of her. But in 2023 Star Trek, Picard Season 3, The Grudge was finally exposed. When Ro returns in Season 3's Imposters, she's no longer the young rebel. She's a commander in Starfleet intelligence, older, wiser, but still carrying the heavy weight of her choices. The moment she and Picard reunite, the temperature in the room drops. Patrick Stewart's performance is restrained but thunderous. This is a wound that never closed. What makes this reunion extraordinary is that Picard doesn't try to hide his resentment. He doesn't extend immediate forgiveness. He confronts her in a turbo lift, voice trembling with rage. "You broke my heart," he says, not as a captain, but as a man. This is perhaps the most raw Picard has ever been in Star Trek. He wasn't angry that she joined the Maquis. He was angry because she didn't trust him enough to tell him. Angry because he had invested in her, had believed in her redemption, and she threw it away. Ro, for her part, doesn't ask for forgiveness. She explains, quietly, that she had to make a choice between a corrupt system and a people being oppressed. She had hoped he would understand, but she knew he wouldn't. That makes the betrayal even more tragic. They both cared about each other, and that made it hurt even more. What's remarkable is that their conversation doesn't end in tidy resolution. But they do reach an understanding. When Ro sacrifices herself in the same episode to protect Picard and expose a conspiracy within Starfleet, it's an act of redemption, but not for Starfleet. It's for him. Her final gift is trust restored. Picard's reaction to her death confirms that his grudge, while long held, was always complicated by love and sorrow. He didn't hate Ro. He missed her. He mourned what could have been. And now, after 31 years, the grudge is gone, not because he forgave her, but because she made peace for him when he couldn't do it himself. In the entire tapestry of Star Trek, Picard has encountered adversaries more powerful and more dangerous than Ro Laren. Q, the Borg Queen, Gul Madrid, Shinzon. But none of them lingered in his soul like Ro did. She was the only one who made him feel betrayed as a person, not as a captain. That's what makes their stories so resonant. It reminds us that even the most stoic and rational among us carry silent griefs and unresolved heartbreaks. Picard's 31-year grudge against Rolaren isn't about vengeance. It's about vulnerability. It's about the cost of trust. And in the end, it's about healing too. Because Star Trek isn't just a story about space, it's a story about the emotional journeys we take to become better versions of ourselves.